Hi, my name's Kiri-Anne and yeah, I want to share how I mastered my mind. Well, I took, what life had thrown at me, and I used it. I made it work for me. So I have been on a journey the last 7 to 10 years, deep, dark, isolating, lonely journey. It took me to places that I don't wish on anyone. Like, there were times when I wanted to give up. It was just ongoing, one thing after another. Yeah, made me angry, but it made me dig deep, figure out, find the magic. I knew someone wasn't going to come and save me, so I had to figure it out. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to cover it all here, because there's many layers to it, but I'll try my best. So let me paint a picture. So life, imagine life like this beautiful painting, but someone had come and throw in, just handfuls of mud and just throwing it at that beautiful painting, right? Just imagine I painted that painting. That painting was, the dream. And it wasn't just filled with material stuff, like it had a feeling. It had, like, to it. It was sunny, it was bright, and then someone just went and threw mud on it, right? Obviously, if you appreciated that painting, or the effort, the meaning it had for you, all on that canvas, and then someone just went and threw mud on it, would rightfully so, you know, piss you off. That's what it felt like for me in the last 7 to 8 years. And I knew, like, as I'm sure you know too, like, you know, life has shown me sometimes the hard way, that you cannot control. You have no control over what people do. That all you can control is yourself. And another thing, like a quote that has helped me look at life, I think it's a Buddha quote. The cause of all suffering is your attachment to it. Or another way of looking at that is, you know, it's not what happens to you, it's how you feel about what happens to you. And when this really sunk in with me, I was looking at life like, if they change, or if that, you know, if I could fix that, or if I could, you know, pour myself into, you know, them, build them up, and, you know, that they would stop being like that, and everything would be right. But yeah, again, you cannot change someone, control someone, and you know, it wears you out. It will wear you out. So you know, I can only change myself. So that's what I did. I went within. I was like, how, you know, how can I change how I, you know, view this, or feel about this? And so one thing that, a perspective that I took on that really helped a lot through this was first knowing what was theirs and what was mine. So I knew that, or I learned that when someone says something to you, like, just say, like, they say you're dumb, right? That's a reflection of them. So when they would say things like that, if it really got under my skin and infected me, which some things did. Yeah, that's a reflection of them who said it, but how I'm feeling about it, like, was very telling to me that I also had remnants or attachment to, dumb. And so then I would go and figure out why, like, where does that come from for me? And I learned that a lot of these beliefs, labels, where they started is where you heal it. And so I would go within and ask myself, just like, I would ask myself, when was the first time I felt this? And then, it's usually when I was younger. But like as a kid, especially when it's like an authoritative figure in your life, like a teacher, a parent, you look up to them, and so what they say holds a lot of power over you, and because you're a kid, like, they're guiding you, teaching you. They're also providing and giving, and there's a lot of power in the safety they provide you, and just providing for you and feeding you and cuddling you, and so what they say matters a lot to us. And when you're a child and when an authoritative figure says something to you, you internalize it. You don't have the mind like an adult to, discern that to understand that hurt people, and or that's a reflection of them. You take it on as your truth. And so yeah, I went back to this younger part of myself when I first felt that way, and I looked at it from like through the eyes of my inner child. But as an adult now, like, I was able to understand like what was mine and what was theirs, and just that awareness like just lifted it from me. Like, I felt it, like, and I started to say to myself, well, you're not stupid, like, and I knew it anyway as soon as I went through this process. When I felt it lift off me, I cried with the younger version of me. And I cried for all the versions that felt that way up until that point. And yeah, so that's what I did. And then over time, when like external circumstances or events would happen and I felt a certain way, like over time, like my mind automatically would trace back. Like it got quicker and quicker where I could trace back, and like I was healing myself. I was lifting all these labels and these things off me over time. Like there were some harder ones than others. There were like some that had layers of other things attached to it as well. So I felt like I would be revisiting one over again because it had another layer to it that I didn't pick up the first time, or whatever, you know. And yes, so these things no longer had the weight like they used to, because when these things used to happen in the past, like it would like it felt heavy going through life. You know, you were trying to weave your way in and out of life to try and dodge these things, or you know, you would hold yourself back, or you know, there was shame there. You wouldn't put yourself in situations, you know. But yeah, not only that, so I would go in and you know, clear myself. I would go in and, you know, remove all these things, and each time I started to see myself in a different light, you know. But yeah, that's how I learned to master my mind. Yeah. I don't get the chatter in my head like I used to. I move on from things a lot quicker. It's helped me see others, truly see others too. But more importantly, how I see myself. Yeah. Thanks for listening.